One of our favorites. He is the original number 88. He is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, which it's always nice to say that. And that, of course, is the Hall of Famer in Drew Pearson. Drew, appreciate the time as always. How you been?
I've been good, Zach. Just returning from enshrinement weekend, and when you go through that, and leave that, you're still walking on high, and you're still excited about being around all the guys. So it was a great weekend, and I'm proud of the class we just inducted.
Yeah, after all those years of waiting, now to be a member of the fraternity and have some trips to Canton and be able to enjoy it when it's not just all about you and, are you going to get in, and then you get in and then you have your incredible day. What is that like to see other people, right, finally get that call to the hall after knowing how many years you had to wait and how difficult that sometimes can be?
Yeah, it's pretty cool because everybody that goes in has a story, whether they waited a while or they got in on the first ballot or whatever. Every Hall of Famer has a story. My story is that I waited 38 years to get in. That's why I go back every year. Everybody asks me, Drew, you coming to the enshrinement this year? I say, hey, I got a condo in Canton. I'm coming back every year, okay? You can't keep me out. I'll pay taxes if I have to in Canton. But no, it's everybody, Zach, has their own story. And when we get together, it's so cool because a lot of the guys are older, and we got a lot of pride. And all of us be getting up like this and, and walking like that. And, when we're around each other, it's okay because we're all like that, And so it's a great feeling to be around all the Hall of Famers, and I'm just proud to be part of that.
With all the legends in one room and there for a weekend, who's the one guy that when you sit down and you're looking around that you just go, I can't believe that I'm in the same fraternity as that guy, just wondering?
Well, there's a lot of guys, but the guy that I always notice, the best part of the whole weekend is the Hall of Fame luncheon, where it's just Hall of Famers there. And we all sit in our team groups, Cowboys here, the Steelers there. And I tapped Tony Dorsett the other day and said, man, Tony, no wonder we didn't beat those Steelers. Look at all those Hall of Famers they got. The whole defense was over there. But the guy that stands out to me every time I see him, and there's respect I give him, and this is hard for a receiver to give this defensive back so much respect, and that's Mel Blount with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He just stands out, and everybody, when they see him for the first time, they're in awe because he's so big. He's 6'4", and he weighed 205, ran a 4.5 40, played in that steel curtain defense, and so I have much respect for him. So it's always good to see him. The other one is Joe Green, the legendary Joe Green. I'm here in the Dallas area. Joe Green is from this area. I see him a lot and participate a lot in his charitable events and things like that. But he's still a legend. He still stands out amongst all the other legends. And it's pretty cool to see him. And I keep talking about these Steelers, man. Don't tell nobody, all right?
Yeah, the legendary Hall of Famer Drew Pearson, the original 88, here with us. So we take a look to next year. Clearly, Drew Brees is going to get on his first try. Larry Fitzgerald's going to get on his first try. I think Frank Gore will get in through time, but not in his first try. I think Jason Witten will get in, just not on his first try. Phillip Rivers is eligible, and then Eli Manning will see his second year of eligibility. Where do you stand on the Hall of Fame status for Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning? Just wondering.
They're going to get in. All they have to do is just wait their turn. We inducted in Antonio Gates, and so there was a lot of Charger fans there and all that, and he spoke highly, of his quarterback getting in, Rivers, and the crowd went wild with that. But just wait your turn. You're going to get in, and the thing is, while you're waiting, don't criticize the Pro Football Hall of Fame, because when doing that, you criticize the players that are in there, all right? And so you might want to criticize the process. I've done that, but don't criticize the Hall of Famers. Don't criticize if a guy goes in ahead of you. Like if your receiver goes in, he's definitely a Hall of Famer. So what I was saying, yeah, if he's a Hall of Famer, then I must be one too. So just wait your turn and hope that the good Lord gives you health at that time so you can appreciate the opportunity.
The Pro Football Hall of Famer Drew Pearson is here with us. All right, let's get to the Cowboys. You know where we're starting this one off with. The last few years, there was drama around CeeDee Lamb, drama around Dak Prescott. Both of them eventually got their new contracts. Now it's a different level with Micah Parsons, with him requesting a trade. When you saw all that did go down on Friday and then the back and forth with him and Jerry Jones, just how did you react to it?
Well, unfortunately, I reacted like this is the typical situation, for the Dallas Cowboys. Here we go again. And what's unfortunate about that, why I say that, is because the Philadelphia Eagles aren't going through things like that. They're not talking about extension and holdouts and things like that. The Washington Redskins, Commodores, whatever you want to call them, they're not dealing with that. They're getting ready for the season. And the thing that I worry about when you have a disgruntled player that's a key player on your roster, you don't want it to infiltrate the locker room, okay? You understand he's got to take care of his business, all right? Let him do that the best way he thinks is the best way to do that. But don't become a locker room lawyer and start talking about it to your teammates and making them a part of your situation and that type of thing, because they got to get ready. They appreciate you and understand the position, because maybe they have been in that position, or maybe they will be in that position one day. So they let you take care of that business. But what I worry about is when it infiltrates the locker room and becomes a conversation in the locker room instead of how we're going to beat the Redskins, how we're going to beat the Eagles, and things like that.
Yeah, and I think the players, they've been rallying around Micah Parsons. A lot of them have been posting profile pictures with him. I think that this is more so a Jerry Jones issue, where the player is finally starting to fight back when, Jerry says, oh, the chants were louder for CD last year, or Jerry doesn't want to talk to Micah Parsons' agent, or some of the other things, the way that this is going down. Because I said the same thing with Dak. It makes no sense to make him wait because the price is only going up. The same thing's happening here with Micah Parsons.
Yeah, it is. But the thing with Parsons, he's under contract, okay? So the Jerry has the upper hand in this situation. Now, he can talk about trade and he can hold out, but there's only one game, okay? And, you play NFL football, you have to be on a team, man. So he's under contract, and that's the number one thing. It doesn't give him that much leverage simply because he's under a contract. And so Jerry Jones is playing that leverage on his side. And I don't know where these negotiations are going, but it's going to get done. The problem I have is the conversation. Every time I pick up the newspaper, and I do read the newspaper, Zach, I know you're online every day. I go out there. I can't wait to get that newspaper when it's thrown. Sometimes I go out there and I catch it before it hits the ground.
Hopefully you catch it.
Oh, absolutely. I usually spike it after I catch it, but hopefully I catch it. But, you just want to stay out of the headlines with this kind of info. I don't mind the Cowboys being in the headlines. People want to talk about the Cowboys, the franchise, the situations we've been in, some of the great players, the owner, he's a Hall of Famer. They want to criticize a Hall of Famer. A lot of guys aren't even have that status, but you got to give him credit for what he's accomplished. But the Cowboys are an easy target. But the thing is, people say, well, we're talking about the Cowboys again, but they always talk about it. We don't ask the cameras to come here. We didn't ask you, Zach, to have me on the show. You asked me. Mm-hmm. So that's the way it is. The cameras come and the Cowboys become a part of another story outside the realm of their training camp, their locker room. No.
But the thing is, though, no owner speaks more than Jerry Jones. Like most of the other owners, you don't hear from them. So they do also invite that attention as well. And people have talked to us. I'm curious your thoughts on it. There's a belief that the Cowboys' priority number one is really just to be in the news. It's to be creating drama And people think that's more how they run that team instead of trying to put the best team out there to win football games. How do you respond to that? Does that sound crazy to you, or do you see some of it with how much drama there's been the last few years?
Yeah, it sounds crazy. It's actually an insult. It's an insult to those professional football players. It's an insult to a guy like C.D. Lamb, who just signed last season at $38 million, signing bonus. It's an insult to these professionals. That is not the reason. These guys work hard. They compete hard. They want to win just like anybody else in the league. We just have an owner that is out front more so than anybody else. He's been doing that for years, so it's nothing new. We all should learn how to deal with it by now. And I think the players, within the organization, and even the coaches that came through, even the current coach, Schottenheimer, they all learned eventually how to deal with it. And you let him do his thing because we got to do our thing. And then you also got to understand, we are the Dallas Cowboys. You either love us or you hate us. And most of the time, because of where we are in our situation, there's a lot of hate out there for the Dallas Cowboys. And a lot of people are wallowing in the fact that the Cowboys have this long tenure now of not winning playoff games, not getting – I played 11 seasons, Zach. I played in 7 NFC championship games.
Man.
So they're living off of our foundation, off the 90s foundation, their legacy. And when we got together, Schottenheimer is really trying to bridge the gap between the legends and the current team. He invited us all out to OTAs, and we got a chance to meet with him and meet with the players and in our position. He's invited us out to training camp. We got to pay our own way, of course.
well, that's.
But we're invited. But he's trying to bridge that gap.
Yeah, I will say that's something that I thought Brian Schottenheimer did. I don't know how he's going to be as a coach, but I thought what he did yesterday. Micah said what he said. Jerry said what he said. And then he said, I'm not taking any questions about Micah. I'm not answering it. Try to nip that distraction in the bud, I thought was a good approach, and that was really professional in the way that I look at it. But let's get back onto the field with the Cowboys, because everything we're talking about is really off the field stuff. You look at the wide receivers. CeeDee Lamb is a top 3 wide receiver in football. They add in George Pickens. George Pickens sometimes is his own worst enemy. What do you think that duo could be, and what advice would you give to George Pickens, as sometimes there's going to be games where the Cowboys are going to be winning and he's not going to have the greatest stat line in the world?
Yeah, the advice I'd give him, look at the guy on the other side. What is this, 3 straight years of over 100 catches, 1,000 yards, all pro, and all that kind of stuff. You'll get opportunities, and we need to take a little pressure. I'm glad they went and got Pickens. Pickens needed a change of scenery. Mike Tomlin up there in Pittsburgh, he's a dominant type of figure. If you're not doing it his way, he's going to let you know. And a lot of players take offense to that. But he's a great addition. And the thing is, it's going to take a lot of pressure off CD. Look what CD has done with the double coverage that he gets each and every time. It's a third down situation. And he's been durable handling that. So he'll be able to now, recognize the defense, recognize the single coverage, and even when he makes a hit or catch, he's only getting hit by one guy that's covering him instead of double coverage, getting hit by 2 guys, which takes adds wear and tear on your body. But he's another weapon for Dak Prescott, and that's what we needed. We've been losing players. Cooper, Schultz, Pollard. Losing people on offense. Zach Martin retired. We lost our center 2 years ago, went to Valdez, went to the Redskins. So, we need to start putting some people around Dak Prescott so that he can have success and our offense can have success.
Where's your belief level in that quarterback with what they've done this offseason? I know you need your health, and even Jerry Jones will point that out when talking about some of these injuries of players that they paid. But if Dak is healthy, what do you think Dak will do on the football field this year?
I think Dak will do just well. I think he's got a lot to prove, and try to get through the season, first of all, healthy and not miss any games. And that would be a big thing in itself. But the best way to take advantage of Dak's skills, I think you got to have a good running game. All right. You got to be able to give the defense something else to look at than Dak Prescott throwing the ball, dropping back 7 yards and throwing the football downfield. We got to have the defense respect our running game. We had a decent running game last season. We averaged 4 yards a carry. Donald went over 1,000 yards. I think we even averaged 100 yards rushing a game, but it wasn't a threat in that running game that make the defense really think about you, make the defense really prepare for you. So Dak has to have the weapons around him, just like any other quarterback, to be successful. And the last 2 years, the weapons have been depleted instead of added to the offense, and it showed, in Dak's performance and the offense's performance. So I think what we did in the offseason, the running back, I'm looking at the running back situation. We got that old Philadelphia Eagle guy in here. Maybe he can give some insight on the Eagles. Miles Sanders is with us, and Javonte Williams and Jaden Blue. So give these guys a chance to see what they can do in this offense. And the thing, again, another thing with Dak is Schottenheimer's been here, okay? He's a voice that's been in Dak's ear for a while now.
Sure.
This is not, even though he's the head coach now, this is not a new voice coming in. So Dak doesn't have to learn this system and terminology and stuff like that since we got a new head coach. So he's very familiar with Schottenheimer, and Schottenheimer is very familiar with him. So they'll do the things that they have to do to take advantage of Dak's assets. And hopefully that'll be enough to get this offense going.
Yeah, I like Jaden Blue. I think he's going to be a good player. I think Miles Sanders, I don't know if he'll tell you this, but I think if everyone's being honest, that Philadelphia offensive line definitely does help out with the maulers that they have up front. But before we let you run the Pro Football Hall of Famer, the original 88 in Drew Pearson, going back to the Micah stuff, I don't know if they'll get a deal done this offseason. If it bleeds into next year, I think they could franchise tag him and then find a way to still get a deal done. I do still think a deal will get done and they won't trade him. Is that kind of your line of thinking on this, that even though he requested a trade, you still anticipate him to be in the long-term future plans of the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, I really do. I really think Mr. Jones will get the deal done eventually. And the thing about it, Zach, one year, my last year in the league, I was holding out, okay? But I made every practice. I was in training camp. I didn't miss any meetings, any practice, or anything. I had my reps with my quarterback. And then when camp ended, when we got back to Dallas, I said, that's it. I'm not playing this season unless I get a new contract. And what I did during that period in training camp is two things. Number one, I continue to get myself ready. So when we do sign the contract, I'm ready to go. And I had my reps with the quarterback. And I also showed the team and the owners, Tex Schramm and those guys, the value of me with the football team. You take me out of there, where's the team going to be? So I talk all that noise in training camp, and if they don't sign me, I'm not going to start the regular season and all that. We get back to Dallas, we're sitting in a meeting room. There's a knock on the door. It's Tex Schramm. He sticks his head in the door. He points to me, Pearson, come here. I go with him. We go outside to the weight room. He says, you want to get this deal done? I said, yes, sir, I want to get it done. I go back to the meeting room. That night, Zach, the deal was done. And it was done to my satisfaction. But the key was that I didn't miss any training camp time. I was ready to go. And that's what I worry about Parsons. Walking around in a T-shirt and a hoodie and all that kind of stuff while your teammates are working, you're not getting yourself ready. You want the money, but you still got to be a player once you get the money. So why are you going to miss time in practice? This is your profession. Don't take away from your opportunities in your profession to get better. And you know how brutal a season could be, especially against for a defensive end, a player like Micah Parsons. Sometimes he'll get double teamed. Most of the time he'll get double teamed. Every offense will know where Micah Parsons is going to line up on defense. So, I don't like that approach not to be, he's there, he's in meetings and he's a body, but to get ready, man. I was running those routes and stuff like that. So once I agreed to the contract, I was ready to go. I didn't have to get in shape and get into that football frame of mind that these guys are now dealing with these holdouts.
It's an interesting perspective because with everything that transpired, I think most people are on the side of Micah Parsons and they've been anti-Jerry Jones. To hear that you're basically frustrated with the approach of Micah Parsons, it is fascinating to me having your player background and being a guy that's in the Pro Football
Only in the sense that you got to take care of I'm not saying about the business side. You got to do what he has to do. I don't know about that situation. I don't want to get in his pocket, okay? Let him deal with that. But I'm just saying in preparation for the upcoming season, you still got to play once you sign that contract. And plus, you're still under contract. So don't let that stop you from preparing for the upcoming season, for the games that you're going to, the rigors of the season and all that kind of stuff. You have to prepare for that. And now if you're not doing that with your reps on the field, maybe that could be somewhat detrimental to you. And like I said, when I was holding out, I ran every route. I made every meeting. I did everything I needed to do to prepare me. So when we did agree with the contract, I was ready to go. And that's what I'm saying. I just hope he's ready to go because we're going to agree to something. He's going to be a Dallas Cowboy. Okay? He ain't going nowhere. All right? They might have let some other guys go, but he's not going to let Micah Parsons go. He's a fan favorite. He's a favorite in that locker room. The teammates like him. He's a leader. You don't let those kind of players go. And if you let them go, especially don't let them go to the Eagles or the Redskins or something like that. And I don't care if they give us the whole house. Still don't let them go to there. Okay?
Drew, we appreciate the time as always. Thanks so much. You be well. Appreciate you doing this.
You got it, Zach. Anytime.